My name is Nandima Tikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to touch on three very important legal issues happening in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial right now. Let me break it down clearly because what people are describing as they are watching, you see the comment section will tell you exactly what is happening and how they are feeling about things. So let's talk about the things that we are worried about again. Right now, where we are standing, when it comes to this, the point number one, what the same time Tower Pink claim suggests, ne? What the same time Tower Pink suggests. In the state timeline, two phones are said to be pinging the same tower at the same time to suggest that certain people were together. Yeah, Eva. So Undanzi is questioning, right? Ukuthi Umkhane denied having this phone with or seeing this second phone, the Hisense. Umkhane agrees only when it comes to the Samsung. The Hisense, no, he refuses that. So how come is the second phone pinging where now we are supposed to be together? Njani, yabo, this is where this is coming from. Now, in the state timeline, several times this is happening and is questionable. Of course, it's questionable. Now, in telecom analysis, this is often used to build location clusters. That's what Ubaloi was also trying to do there. The logic goes like this. Phone A, which is the Samsung, connects to Tower X. Phone B, which is the Hisense, connects to Tower X. Both connections occur at roughly the same time. Investigators then refer the phones were near each other. This type of analysis is commonly used in criminal investigations. Hear me out. Second point, the hidden technical problem. The problem is that cell tower pings do not actually prove two phones were in the same place. A cell tower can cover several kilometers, especially in suburban areas. For example, in many parts of Pretoria, one tower can cover 2 to 5 kilometers radius. Signals overlap with neighboring towers. Phones dynamically switch towers. Two phones can connect to the same tower at the same time, but still be kilometers apart. And that alone weakens the inference, but the paradox goes deeper. Third point, the tower load balancing effect. Modern mobile networks constantly balance traffic between towers. This means a phone may connect to a further tower with less traffic instead of the closest tower. Reasons include network congestion, signal strength fluctuations, terrain inferences, tower capacity limits. So two phones standing next to each other might even connect to different towers. This is opposite of what investigators sometimes assume. Point number 4. So now, why Ntanzi's question is technically dangerous for the state? Let's deal with that. One of the reasons perhaps Ntanzi is dealing with this. Bongani Ntanzi raised something very interesting. Two phones attributed to him appear to ping different towers. Later, they appear on the same tower again. Here is his question is essentially if both phones were with me, how could they travel in different directions and later come together again? From telecom perspective, that question exposes a timeline problem. There are only a few possibilities. Possibility 1, phones were physically in different locations, meaning the assumption about who had which phone may be wrong. Possibility number 2, tower interpretation is incorrect. Investigators may be misreading coverage areas versus exact locations. Possibility number 3, data gaps. Cell tower records often log network events, not continuous tracking. So the phone may have moved, but the system only recorded certain moments. Okay. Point number 5, the true same-time ping paradox. Let's deal with that. Here is the part many people miss. If multiple phones always ping the same tower at the same time, it can actually be suspicious in telecom analysis. Why? Because in real life, phones normally shift towers, bounce between towers, reconnect frequently. Perfect synchronization sometimes suggests call detail records were simplified. Data was interpreted rather than raw. Or analysis grouped events too broadly. This can distort a timeline. Okay, this is not good for the state. Point number 6, why experts normally explain this or normally test this in court. In serious cases, telecom experts normally explain tower coverage maps, sector directions, signal strength, handover patterns. Without that explanation, raw tower lists can be misleading. This is what Ubaloyi keeps referring to. This is raw data, misleading, Gesana, it can happen. This is why digital evidence in trials is usually presented by telecom engineers, digital forensic analysts, not Baloyi who knows nothing. So if not properly explained, the defense can argue the location evidence is scientifically unreliable. So Baloyi must back off. Baloyi must back off. Point number 7, why this matters in the bigger trial. The entire case centers on the killing of football captain Senzo Meyiwa in 2014. The prosecution's narratives relies partly on phone movement timelines. If the defense successfully shows that tower pings do not prove proximity, phones can connect to towers far away, tower data was misinterpreted, then the timeline becomes uncertain. And once a timeline collapses, reasonable doubt grows. So in simple terms, the same time tower ping paradox means phones connecting to the same tower at the same time does not necessarily mean the people were together. It only proves they were somewhere inside a large coverage area. Okay, so these are the challenges that Ubaloyi is facing with, and I don't think he understands what he is facing. I don't think so. So let's also look at sector overlap triangles quickly. It is one of the most misunderstood aspects of mobile network evidence. And it can absolutely create the kind of situation that Bongani Ntanzi was questioning in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. Let's break it down in simple terms, but technically accurate way. Okay, 1, how cell towers are actually built. Most cell towers do not broadcast in a full circle. Instead, they use 3 directional antennas called sectors. Sector A, roughly 120 degrees coverage. Sector B, another 120, sector C, another 120. Together, they form a triangular coverage pattern around the tower. Each sector logged separately in telecoms records. So if a tower data might see things like tower 123, sector 1, tower 123, sector 2, tower 123, sector 3, each sector points in a different geographic direction. Point 2, where the overlap triangle happens, the sectors are not perfectly separated. Their signals overlap at the edges. That creates zones where a phone can receive 2 sectors at the same time. Inside these overlap zones, the phone may rapidly switch between sectors, or the network may record different sector connections within seconds. In telecom engineering, this is normal behavior. Point number 3, how phones often can appear in 2 directions. Because of this overlap, the same phone can appear in records like this. Tower A, sector 1 at a certain time, like 1903-12, 1903-14, tower A, sector 3. Do you understand? Sector 1 might face north, while sector 3 faces southwest. So on paper, it looks like the phone jumped across the tower instantly. But in reality, the phone may have simply been standing near a sector boundary inside overlap triangle. The network kept switching to whichever signal was strongest at that moment. Why this matters for phone movement timelines. When investigators build movement timelines, they often assume sector connection is equal to direction of the phone, but this assumption can fail in overlap zones. A phone might appear to move east, west, east in seconds, appear to travel kilometers instantly, appear to be in two different directions from the tower, when actually it never moved. When actually it never moved. Why Ntanzi's question is technically interesting. During testimony, Bongani Ntanzi raised an issue of two phones allegedly traveling differently and later appearing together again. If the prosecution relies only on tower logs, a few telecom effects could explain this. A sector overlap switching, a phone connects two different sectors seconds apart. Number two, neighbor tower handover. Phones may jump briefly to another tower and back. Number three, network loading balancing. Network sends the phones to a less busy tower. These behaviors can make phone records look like phones were separated and reunited, even if they didn't. That's not what I'm saying, in this situation, okay? Now, the key takeaway here, phones appear on different sectors or towers close in time does not automatically mean the phones travel. It can simply mean that the phones was in a signal overlap zone. The network was optimizing the connection. That's all it is. I'm learning. We are learning. What are your thoughts when it comes to this? Let's talk comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much. I'll see you on our next video. Bye-bye.